What's up, everybody? It's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video back in Planet Coaster, and it's been forever since I've actually touched up on this, and this I'm gonna count as a Silver Dollar City recreation episode. Now, if you may notice, we're not in the Silver Dollar City recreation save. Now, this is because I'm taking a little bit of a different approach here, and I've commented back on a lot of people saying what's happened to the series. I know it's been a while, but I don't have the resource pictures that I need, so I kind of held the project off for a little bit until the season starts back up at Silver Dollar City next month. Now, you know, a lot of high demand for these episodes, so I decided to do something I think I can do, and that is to go ahead, as you can see in the title, go into building the Outlaw Run area. Now, I did this in a completely different save, and I'm going to get to what the big idea is here. Now, I completely decided to do this on a different save for multiple reasons. One reason is it's going to take forever before I get to the Outlaw Run area if I was just to do what I'm doing. Now, and obviously this is going to take a lot of time itself, just creating the structure around this area. Now, the thing about this is, how am I going to get this imported into the final or the regular save? And that's a good question, and I have a good idea, and I hope it works. If it doesn't work, we'll at least be able to get some of this. Now, as I know, each blueprint can only have at least 2,000 items. So what I'm going to be doing is creating a lot of different parts and sections here for each part of this save that I'm doing. And I'm going to save it into multiple different sections. And when I say that, you know, each building is going to be saved and then kind of put piece by, it's almost going to be like a puzzle when I actually put it into the actual, when I put it in the actual, you know, video and stuff, or the actual save and stuff of the SDC recreation. So this section, I'm actually thinking about making Wilson's Farm as well, so I'm thinking about adding the giant swing in this save and actually making that also in here as well, since it's actually the same area. And then once we get to the actual save, I can actually plop this down and actually try and sync it into the environment around. Now, I know this is going to be a difficult thing to do, but I'm up for the challenge because obviously I'm going to have to work the terrain around, and I think I'll make it a little bit easier, but we'll see. Now, this first part that I'm working on here is actually the entrance building for Outlaw Run. Now, again, what I need to explain is why you said, you know, you needed more reference photos, you had to wait till opening. Now, the reason why I can do this one so much, because I know this area pretty much at the back of my hand. I know this area so well that I could probably do this without reference photos. I mean, I'm using reference photos, obviously, for the very small details, but I pretty much know the layout of this complete ride area and stuff like that. And because, you know, there's going to be inaccuracies. There's always going to be inaccuracies because you're kind of limited with certain objects. But sometimes I think this is the best I've ever done at building, to be honest. And, you know, I took a lot of time in this episode, as you can tell, to actually work a lot on little details and getting stuff correct. And it actually turned out to be very close to the actual building, I thought. And what I'm going to be doing for the pathways, actually, is creating my own pathway out of, like, the roof tiles and stuff, because the textures on the paths don't really work well, and it's a lot easier to kind of get exactly what you want. So they're going to be over the regular pathways. Now, the one thing that is going to be kind of an issue with this issue with pathways anyways is kind of the queue line was kind of difficult. I don't think I really get into the queue line for this episode, but that's actually next episode. I actually recorded like 3 episodes, and I will let you know that there was one episode that the file got corrupted because the game crashed, and it actually corrupted the video file as well. So that is going to be kind of a crappy thing. So a lot of footage is kind of lost, but it will be all right, and we'll recapture and everything like that. So my main focus to try and get everything kind of in proportion, and that's always a tough thing when doing recreations, is making sure everything is the same amount of size. Otherwise you're gonna run into a couple of difficulties later. When you're building the ride, if the track's supposed to be next to the pathway at a certain point, and it's not in the right proportion and it's off and stuff like that, that can happen. And I've had to adjust a couple of things back and forth in this doing this, and it's actually worked out pretty well overall, and I think it's the best I've ever done on recreating something, mostly because I know this place so well, and everything you see is probably not final, but I really tried to get creative in building this entrance building and stuff, because I know exactly how it looks, and I used reference photos obviously because I don't know like every single minor detail, but for the most part, props wise as well, I even add the props necessary that go into this area, but it's kind of a really cool thing. Like, you'll start to see this develop very well over the next couple episodes, because I've actually already recorded a couple of episodes already, and I'm very excited to share them with you guys. So I count this as the recreation, so I wanted to make sure I recorded it and make it a part of the series, because it is going to be part of the series eventually, because I don't want to get back to the series, import this, and you guys go like, where did that come from? We didn't see that built, because you guys obviously want to see a roller coaster being built and recreated, of course. And I'm so happy to be back to the series, and I'm going to try and work on this, because this is probably going to take up and definitely until Sword Art City's open again. So it's going to be something to keep my, I've had a lot of people comment, they enjoyed the series and they wondered where it was, and after only 3 episodes, and now here we are in 4. But so I thought I'd be able to do something until the park opens back up again, because I think I wouldn't say I made an excuse, but at the same time, I just want to make sure that this is going to be the most accurate recreation that you're ever going to see in your life. And, it's going to take time, and this park is probably going to take me up to a year, maybe even multiple years before I completely finish it. And that's going to be an interesting thing. And, with a new ride on the way, for next season, I'm going to have to work on all of that too when that opens, because my plan is to actually keep this park updated, and anytime the park, adds new rides or something like that, I do want to add it into the game as well and keep the park updated. Now, another big project I want to do after the park is complete, and we're looking a long time down the road, obviously, but hopefully I'm going to get episodes going a lot more often now, using this now to my advantage. And what I'm planning on doing is actually I forgot my complete train of thought there. I don't even know what happened. But anyways, little details right here until I get my train of thought back. Little details like this, and I really wanted to detail this crate, because there wasn't really like a crate that looked like it. So I actually designed my entire own crate. This took like a long time to do as well. So I'm very dedicated at this point. It actually turned out really close to the actual product. I'm going as far as like little props like this and stuff that, that I know are there. Most recreations won't show these little details like this, but mine will, because I know this area so well I know this so well for the park, and it's going to be very nice, and I hope that this turns out very good. So anyways, I hope you guys understand what is going on, because it is kind of a jump, from what I did in the last episode to all of a sudden being an Outlaw run, because that makes no sense. Now, I think I might even try and do this for future areas of the park as well. Focus on each area at a time, and then just kind of import that area into the world itself and try and fit it all together and see how that works. Now, I don't know how well it's going to work, but this is going to be my first test, kind of. And it gives you guys something to view while, I'm waiting for the park to be open, and this crate, I mean, like, I can't believe it actually turned out very nicely, and my building skills have really improved. I need to do more stuff like this, because this actually helped my building skills dramatically, just doing these recreations. Maybe I need to do recreations more often, to improve my building. Maybe that's the practice I really need, instead of making like stuff that doesn't exist. Stuff that does exist is definitely a lot more interesting, and it's more of a challenge to get stuff right. So I completely lost my train of thought from what I was going to say earlier, and I don't know what it was going to be, but I feel like it was important. I can't actually remember. But anyways, I'm going as far as details like this, obviously, and it's important for me to include that. And I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this area in general, because it's very important that I get this recreation as accurate as possible. It's not going to be perfect, but I want to make it as accurate as possible. And I really would love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. And there's just so much to do in this park, but this is probably going to be quite a few episodes itself, so look forward to that for Outlaw Run. These are the Outlaw Run episodes. And as for the next, if I do another thing like this, kind of where go off into another world just to create a different section, the next one, I don't know what it would be, maybe like Wildfire, possibly Powder Keg. Wildfire would actually be probably pretty doable, because, you just have the station building, the observation dock, and obviously, you're just going to have to work the terrain around once you import it into the actual world, because we all know Silver Dollar City is not on flat land, and that is one of the biggest challenges of this park. Now, as for Outlaw Run, this section, with the pathway and everything is pretty flat for the most part. The coaster itself, it does not lay on flat land, so that's going to be interesting as well, because, it has a 107 foot tall lift hill with a 162 foot drop. So that's one thing I want to make sure is get all the statistics right, and the coaster layouts need to be as perfect as can be. That is another thing I'm going to be working on very hard, and getting the coaster layouts as perfect as possible, even if it takes me, multiple episodes just to build the layout of the coaster. That's going to be my goal. I want to go full out on this series, and I feel like the first 3 episodes weren't as good. I thought the entrance turned out pretty well, but like the hospitality house and towards the entrance, was kind of lacking, I felt. So I might do some adjustments all around those parts of the park, and I just want to go full out on like this Outlaw Run stuff. So anyways, this front entrance building is looking pretty good, I thought, and you can compare it to actual pictures, and I might even at the end of this video put a comparison between how this looks compared to the actual entrance building itself, and see how well it actually looks to be. I'll let you guys be the judge. I tried to get the signs as best as I could as well. It didn't, they're not going to be exact, obviously, because I can't do everything I completely want to. I wish we could like put some custom billboards, kind of like Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, where you can put your own custom photos in there. That way I can actually take the actual texture and maybe put it onto like a billboard or something like that. I wish we could have that. Maybe that will come in the future down the line for this. And I also want to import also some music for the area as well, once we get like speakers and music speakers in there, and I'm going to import some actual music that actually plays at the ride and stuff. It will be very cool. I'm obviously not going to have it in like eventually, we're talking years down, a long time down the line, but like cinematic videos, I'm not going to obviously have those songs playing, obviously, because of copyright issues, but I wish I could, because that would be just add so much more to the ride itself and the experience. But after it gets up on the Steam Workshop, after I get this section done, I'm going to try and upload this section to the Steam Workshop so you guys can check it out for yourself if you guys want to do that. So this is kind of like the recreation series of just Outlaw Run itself. So as you can see, I do my best to make the signs, the 1883 and the Western Missouri Stagecoach Depot. This is a very tough sign to, make it look like it's supposed to, in a way, because I had to put multiple signs, because I'm not going to be able to fit all that all on one, sign and stuff like that. I had one sign saying Depot, one sign saying 1883, and then the Western Missouri Stagecoach is really tiny letterings, and it's all one sign in real life, but I had to divide it into multiple signs, and the small letters and stuff also had to be, kind of on multiple signs too, because it was so many words, Western Missouri Stagecoach and stuff like that. There's also writing on this big part right here that says arrivals and departures daily. I was trying to test out here if I could possibly, you know, get rid of the texture and maybe just keep because it's actually just kind of painted on there. So that's another issue with this section or this part that I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I could just, you know, put some signs up there and maybe do my best to try and theme it up a little bit to make it blend in, but it's kind of hard to do in that sense. So anyways, a lot of good things going on here, and you'll see in the next couple episodes that, you know, I'm very proud of how the queue line is actually turning out. And I don't think it's till like actually, since there's a corrupted file, you know, I think it's actually going to be in the next episode. You'll see where it actually gets started a little bit in the station and stuff like that. So there is a little bit lost footage in the future, but not a whole lot. You'll see everything for the most part. So anyways, let me guys know in the comments what you think. If you've been to Silver City and in this area, let me guys know what you guys think of how accurate this looks compared to real life. I think it's turned out really good so far, and be sure to stay tuned for more of this, you know, because I'm in awe of how it actually turned out. You know, I'm actually very impressed with myself. The way I experimented and made things look the way they need to be, like in real life and stuff, and it's actually helping me out with some building skills, I think, as well, so, which is also a good thing. And I hope, you know, that you guys agree that, you know, this is probably the most proud of I've been, you know, detailing a building. And here I am in like over an hour-long footage here of me literally just getting the front of the building still. We haven't even gotten in depth here. We're still working on detailing the building and stuff. That's how much time I took on this to try and get it right. So you know, this is going to be a long series, of course, because each episode is like gonna be a lot of stuff, you know, not much progress made because I am working so hard trying to get it as best as I possibly can. And yeah, so the entrance, I'm gonna hide all the queue line, so you won't actually be able to see the regular queue line. It's gonna be covered up by like the actual roof pieces and stuff like that. So that's gonna be nice because you'll see the guests standing in line, but it's going to have custom railings and stuff like that. All of that's good stuff, and I think it looks really good. So I think I got the right amount of rows and stuff like that as well. I have a good idea of how I'm going to do the priority pass, because they do actually have which is called Trailblazer Pass in Silver City, because they have a separate entrance for that rather than being connected to, you know, the front of the line. I have a good idea of how that's going to work out. You know, how it's actually going to work in the long run, but you know, I'm going to make it look like the entrance is 1 point, but people are going to actually enter through the queue line, and it will actually look pretty cool. So yeah, we get to a little bit in depth of the back of the front of the building, so I can't wait to share more with you guys. It's actually looking really good, and I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts on my Outlaw Run recreation here. So thank you guys for all your guys' supports and your concern about this series, because a lot of people have been commenting, you know, where did this series go? You haven't done an episode in months and stuff like that, and I'm glad to be back to it and trying this out. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe for more content like this, and I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great day and an even cooler tomorrow. Thanks and goodbye. And you know, let me guys know what you think with the comparison picture here. So I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.